The desert stretched far in every direction, endless waves of golden sand rolling beneath the hot sun. The wind carried dry whispers as if the land itself remembered stories from long ago. A group of human explorers moved carefully across this vast emptiness, their camp set not far from an ancient ruin buried beneath layers of shifting sand. At the center of the team stood Amir, a calm man with sharp eyes who had always believed the desert held secrets greater than any book could tell. For weeks, Amir and his small team had been following strange readings from underground sensors. The signals suggested the presence of something unusual hidden deep beneath the dunes. At first, some thought it was only another forgotten tomb or a collapsed temple, but Amir noticed the patterns in the readings. They did not match ordinary stone or simple chambers. The signals seemed alive, pulsing faintly in rhythm with the sun itself. One morning, when the sky was painted with the pale glow of dawn, Amir led his team to a half-buried stone arch. The structure was old, older than the pyramids, older than any dynasty recorded in history. The stones were smooth and shaped with such precision that even time had failed to wear them down. Strange symbols carved into the surface shimmered faintly as sunlight touched them, glowing in thin golden lines. The sight left everyone silent. Lena, the youngest member of the group, reached out to trace one of the glowing patterns with her fingers. Amir quickly stopped her. He reminded them all that this was not an ordinary tomb. The carvings felt different, almost like a warning or a guide. The others nodded, though their curiosity burned stronger than their caution. Hours passed as they cleared more sand away, revealing a hidden stairway that descended into the earth. The air that rose from below was cool and dry, untouched for countless ages. Amir lit a torch and stepped forward, his voice steady as he asked the team to follow. Together they entered the dark passage, leaving the brightness of the desert behind. The stairway twisted downward for what felt like forever. At last it opened into a vast chamber. The explorers froze where they stood, their torches shaking in their hands. Before them stretched walls covered in intricate designs, unlike anything they had ever seen. The images were not only of gods and pharaohs, but of stars, planets, and shapes of the sky. It looked as though the chamber had been carved by people who understood more than the earth, people who had reached for the heavens themselves. At the center of the chamber rested a colossal object made entirely of gold. It was round, shaped like a sun, with curved rays extending outward. Its surface gleamed even in the dim torchlight. Though it appeared silent, Amir could feel a faint vibration in the air, as if the golden sun was waiting to awaken. The team gathered around the object. Some whispered in awe, while others scribbled hurried notes. Lena asked if it might be a treasure built for a forgotten king. Another member, Harun, suggested it could be part of an ancient machine. Amir, however, said nothing. His eyes stayed fixed on the strange golden sun, his thoughts racing. On the floor beneath the object, lines of symbols stretched outward in perfect symmetry. Amir bent to examine them. They were not like the hieroglyphs found in common tombs. These looked more like patterns of light and energy. He noticed one line that pointed upward, toward the entrance they had used, as if connecting the chamber to the sun above. He realized this tomb was more than a burial place. It was a design, a system meant to channel sunlight into the heart of the golden sun. Suddenly, as if answering his thoughts, a shaft of light broke through a small opening high in the ceiling. The beam touched the golden surface. The chamber filled with a soft glow. The object hummed faintly and the air trembled. Every explorer gasped as the golden sun pulsed once, then faded back to silence. Amir's heart raced. He knew this was no coincidence. The tomb was aligned with the rising sun, waiting for the right moment to awaken. He wondered if ancient people had built this or if it was something far beyond their time. He felt both fear and excitement. That night the team camped inside the chamber, unwilling to leave such a discovery unguarded. As they sat around a small fire, Amir explained his thoughts. He told them that what they had found was not simply a treasure. It was a device, perhaps a gift, or perhaps a warning. He reminded them that their actions could change the world if they were not careful. Outside, the desert remained silent, but far above, the stars watched. The faint pulse of energy from the golden sun had not gone unnoticed. Somewhere beyond Earth, something ancient and patient stirred. The team did not know that their discovery had already sent a signal across the skies. What they thought was the start of a study was, in truth, the opening of a much larger story. For Amir, the journey into the tomb of the rising sun was only the beginning. The next morning, the desert sun rose high and poured its light through the small openings of the tomb. The faint beams touched the walls, and once again the strange patterns came alive. Golden lines shimmered as though the stone itself breathed. Amir and his team stood in silence, watching the glow spread across the chamber. Lena held her notebook close to her chest, her eyes wide. "It is like the walls are awake," she whispered. Harun stepped closer to the glowing patterns, moving his torchlight along the carvings. "These are not just decorations," he said. "They are maps, look here. The circles, the lines. They show stars, not only the ones above Egypt, but many more." Amir examined the designs carefully. The symbols curved across the wall in a spiral, leading toward the center of the chamber where the golden sun rested. It was no ordinary statue. Its surface seemed alive, faintly warm even though no fire touched it. The explorers felt as though it was waiting for them. Amir placed his hand gently on the golden surface. The chamber responded. A soft vibration passed through the floor, and the golden sun hummed faintly like a distant drum. A sudden burst of light filled the room, bright but not blinding. The explorers staggered back in shock. The glow pulsed once, twice, then faded into a quiet warmth. Lena gasped. "It moved. It answered you." Amir's hand trembled, but his voice was steady. "This is not a simple treasure. This is a machine." The team gathered closer, their fear replaced by curiosity. Harun leaned over the floor symbols, tracing the lines with his fingers. "This one leads outward. It points to the sky. If this is a machine, then it connects to the sun itself." They began to work together, recording every detail. Hours passed as they copied symbols and mapped the chamber. Each discovery only deepened their wonder. One panel showed a figure holding the golden sun high, beams of light spreading across lands and waters. Another showed ships not like boats on the Nile, but shapes that seemed to float among stars. Amir's mind raced with questions. Who had built this? Was it an ancient civilization lost to history? Or something far greater? The weight of the discovery pressed on him. He knew this was not only about the past, this could change the future of the entire world. As evening fell, a strange sound echoed through the chamber. The golden sun pulsed once more, brighter this time. The explorers shielded their eyes as thin beams of light stretched out, striking the walls. The glowing lines rearranged into new shapes. To their amazement, the patterns formed what looked like instructions. Lena quickly drew the new symbols into her notebook. Her hands shook, but she did not stop. "It is teaching us," she whispered. "It wants us to understand." Amir stepped forward again. The golden sun vibrated softly, almost like it was alive, almost like it had been waiting for someone to return. He placed his hand on the surface once more. The machine answered, sending out a low hum that filled the chamber. Outside, the desert shifted. The sand above the tomb trembled slightly, though no storm blew. The golden sun had sent a signal, one that stretched far beyond Earth. The explorers did not notice, but their action had reached into the cold silence of space. Inside, Amir pulled back his hand. His face was pale, but his eyes burned with determination. "This device is not only for power. It is a message. A call." The others exchanged uneasy looks. Harun asked what he meant. Amir explained that when he touched the golden sun, he felt something beyond sound, like a voice without words. It was not human. It was waiting to be heard. The team slept lightly that night in the chamber. Strange dreams filled their rest. Dreams of golden light stretching across endless skies. Amir awoke before dawn, his heart unsettled. He knew their discovery was greater than anything humanity had touched in centuries, yet he also feared that the world outside would not understand. When the morning sun returned, its light fell perfectly through the ceiling shaft, striking the golden sun once more. This time the machine glowed longer, brighter. The chamber shook slightly, as if something within had awakened. Lena clutched her notebook, staring at the golden light that filled every corner. "If this spreads across the world, it will change everything," she said. Amir did not answer. His thoughts were heavy. Change could bring hope, but it could also bring danger. The world's leaders might fight over such power. Greed might tear nations apart. Yet he also knew they could not hide it forever. The tomb of the rising sun was alive again, and its light would not remain secret for long. What none of them knew was that across the cold reaches of the galaxy, others had already felt the pulse of the golden chamber. A distant world stirred, its people listening to the echo of energy they had not heard for ages. They remembered the golden power, and they began to prepare. The desert tomb had been silent for thousands of years. Now it had spoken once more. Humanity had awakened something older than memory, something that would soon change not only their world, but many worlds beyond. And Amir, standing at the heart of the golden chamber, understood one truth. The light that touched them was only the beginning. Far beyond Earth, in the silent sea of stars, the signal from the golden chamber traveled faster than light through old and hidden paths. It reached worlds untouched by human eyes, worlds ruled by an ancient species known as the Tharoon. For ages, the Tharoon had searched the skies for traces of energy they once believed lost. When the golden pulse touched their listening towers, they knew at once what it was. The sun core had awakened again, and its call came from a small blue planet called Earth. On their vast homeworld, the leaders of the Tharoon gathered in a high chamber made of dark stone and glowing crystals. They spoke in deep voices, their words carrying both fear and hunger. To them, gold was not a simple metal. It was life, energy, and power. Long ago, they had fought wars over it. They remembered how it could bend the light of stars and fuel ships across the galaxy. For the Tharoon, Earth's awakening of the golden device was a dangerous sign. One leader struck the table with a heavy hand. The humans have touched what is not theirs. If they learn its full power, they may rise against us one day. Another leader shook his head. They are young, weak, and divided. They cannot master such a device. We will go to their world and take it before they even understand what they hold. The council agreed. Soon, ships as large as mountains lifted from the Tharoon cities, their metal bodies shining like dark suns. Engines burned blue, leaving trails of fire as they tore into space. Their destination was Earth, and their purpose was clear: seize the golden sun before humanity could claim it. Meanwhile, on Earth, Amir and his team were still studying the tomb. They had no idea that their discovery had already drawn attention from across the stars. Amir felt the weight of the chamber's silence each day. The golden sun glowed softly whenever sunlight entered, and its vibrations grew stronger. He wrote notes late into the night, filling pages with sketches of symbols and theories. Lena noticed his unease. One evening, as they sat by the small fire inside the chamber, she asked, "Do you think we should tell the world now, before it becomes too big for us alone?" Amir shook his head. "Not yet. If we speak too soon, the world will not see it as knowledge. They will see it as a weapon. Nations will fight over it, and the meaning will be lost." Harun disagreed. "If it is as powerful as we think, then hiding it may be just as dangerous. We cannot guard it forever." Their words hung heavy in the chamber. None of them knew that even as they debated, shadows in the sky were already moving toward Earth. Days later, astronomers in distant observatories noticed strange signals in space. Something massive was approaching from beyond the edge of the solar system. Reports quietly reached a few governments, but most dismissed them as errors. Only Amir, studying the vibrations of the golden sun, sensed the truth. The machine was no longer silent. It was answering someone. That night, as the desert cooled under the stars, Amir walked alone outside the tomb. The sand was calm, the air still, yet he felt a strange presence. He looked up and saw the heavens filled with countless stars. For the first time, he wondered if humanity was not alone in listening. Far above, hidden from human eyes, the first Tharoon ship entered the solar system. Its surface was black as night, its shape like a great wing. Silent and steady, it drifted closer, watching Earth from afar. Inside, the Tharoon commander studied the small planet with interest. "The humans live in many nations," one said, reading data from their instruments. "They fight among themselves. They will not stand together if we strike." Another replied, "Then we will strike swiftly. We will take the tomb before they understand its power." On Earth, Amir awoke suddenly in the night. His heart raced and his ears rang with a low hum, as if the golden sun called to him in his sleep. He rushed into the chamber and saw it glowing faintly without sunlight. Lines of light spread across the walls, forming a new pattern he had never seen before. It looked like a warning. Lena and Harun followed quickly, their faces pale as they watched the golden lines. "It is alive," Lena whispered. Amir placed his hand on the surface again. A sudden vision flashed in his mind. He saw stars, countless stars, and among them shapes of ships moving toward Earth. His hand trembled as he pulled away. "They are coming," he said quietly. The others stared at him in confusion. "Who is coming?" Harun asked. Amir looked toward the ceiling, toward the sky beyond. His voice was steady, though his heart was heavy. Visitors from the sky. The golden sun has called them, and now they are on their way. Outside, the desert winds began to rise, carrying sand across the land. Above, the stars shone bright and silent. Yet far beyond those stars, the Tharoon ships moved ever closer. The tomb of the rising sun had been opened, and the world was no longer alone. The days in the desert grew hotter, but the chamber below only grew brighter. Each sunrise poured through the narrow opening above, and each morning the golden sun responded with more strength. Its hum filled the air, and its glow lasted longer, as though it was waking from a deep sleep. Amir felt the change in his bones. The machine was no longer silent stone. It was alive. Lena spent long hours copying the new patterns that appeared across the walls. She noticed that the symbols were never the same. Every day they shifted and formed new shapes, like the tomb was speaking in a language of light. Harun, meanwhile, studied the energy pulses. He placed small sensors around the chamber, and their readings showed levels higher than anything he had ever measured. "This is not just a source of power," Harun said one evening. "It is growing stronger. If it continues like this, it will draw too much from the sun." Amir listened, his face calm though his heart was troubled. "It was built for a purpose. If we do not understand that purpose, we may bring danger upon the whole world." Outside, the desert skies began to change. Clouds gathered strangely during the day, even though it was not the season for storms. At night, the stars seemed to shimmer with an odd light. Local villages reported their wells warming, and animals behaved restlessly. Something in the natural order was shifting. News of the discovery could not be hidden forever. A group of officials arrived at the camp sent by the government after rumors spread among workers and traders. They questioned Amir and demanded to see the tomb. Amir led them down the stairway, and the moment they stepped inside, their eyes widened at the sight of the glowing chamber. One of the officials whispered, "This is not treasure. This is power." They argued among themselves. Some spoke of sharing it with the world as a gift, but most spoke of control. If one nation claimed the golden sun, it could change the balance of power across the earth. Amir watched them quietly, his heart sinking. He feared this more than the glow itself. Lena noticed his silence and asked later, "Do you not trust them?" Amir shook his head. "They see only gold and power. They do not see the danger. This device is not meant for greed. If they push it too far, it will consume more than the desert. It could consume the world." Meanwhile, far above, the Tharoon ships drew closer. They had entered the outer system, their massive forms hidden beyond the planets, their instruments locked on Earth, and their commanders studied the growing energy signature from the desert. They spoke in low voices of how much the golden core had already awakened. "If the humans have already reached this stage," one commander said, "we must act quickly. Delay will only give them time to grow." On Earth, strange events continued. The desert winds grew stronger, carrying sand in great waves across villages. The sun burned hotter during the day, and shadows stretched unnaturally long at sunset. Some scientists far away began to notice unusual solar activity, but none could explain the sudden rise. Only Amir and his team understood that the tomb itself was pulling at the sun. One night, as the wind howled across the dunes, Amir sat inside the chamber with his hand on the golden surface. His eyes were closed and his breathing steady. He could feel the hum deep inside him, like a heartbeat not his own. For a moment he saw visions again, light flowing across oceans, cities glowing with endless energy, but also storms tearing across lands and skies burning too bright. He opened his eyes and whispered to himself, "We must learn to balance it or it will destroy us." Lena, sitting nearby, heard him. "Can we balance it?" she asked. Amir did not answer at once. At last he said, "We must try. This device may be the greatest gift humanity has ever found, or it may be our end. The choice will depend on how we use it." The next morning, the officials returned with more men. They set guards at the tomb, claiming it under the authority of the state. Amir and his team were ordered to continue their study, but now under close watch. The explorers felt the weight of chains, though no iron touched them. Harun whispered angrily to Amir, "They will take it from us. They will use it for war." Amir placed a hand on his shoulder. "Calm yourself. We must keep learning. Knowledge is our only defense." As the sun rose that day, the golden chamber shook with power. The beams of light grew so strong they lit the stairway and reached into the desert above. Villagers miles away saw the glow and whispered of ancient gods returning. From the sky the Tharoon fleet saw it as well. The commanders smiled with grim satisfaction. "It is ready," one said. "Soon it will be ours." But on Earth, Amir stood firm before the golden sun. He knew time was running short. The tomb was no longer only history. It was a race, a test of whether humanity could prove itself worthy before the visitors from the sky arrived. The desert sky darkened in an unusual pattern. Clouds formed as if they were painted by an invisible hand, and the wind carried a strange electric charge. Amir stood outside the tomb, feeling the air hum around him. Something had arrived. He could sense it deep in his bones. Lena ran to his side, her notebook clutched tightly. "Amir, I feel it too. Something is here. Something is watching us." Haroon scanned the horizon with binoculars. They are not birds, not planes, something large, and moving fast. Far above, the Tharoon ships hovered silently. Their dark winged forms blocked the sunlight. Each ship was enormous, far larger than any human craft, and their shadows stretched across the dunes. From their position, they could see the tomb glowing softly, golden light spilling from its entrance. Inside the tomb, the golden sun pulsed more strongly than ever. It seemed to sense the visitors. The vibrations traveled through the floor, shaking the walls slightly. Amir placed his hand on the surface of the sun. The hum was louder now, almost like a voice whispering in his mind. He did not understand the language, but he felt a warning, a call to prepare. The Tharoon ships began to descend slowly. From their hulls, beams of light scanned the desert. Sensors detected every detail. The tomb, the humans, the golden sun itself. One commander spoke, his voice low and controlled. "They have awakened the Sun Core. Prepare to retrieve it. Do not let them keep what is ours." On the ground, the explorers realized that the desert was no longer quiet. The sand swirled in eddies, and the heat of the golden sun combined with the energy in the air created a shimmering haze. The officials who had come to guard the tomb were panicked. They shouted orders, but no human command could reach the power in the sky. Amir stepped forward calmly. "Everyone, listen. This is not about fighting yet. We must understand it first. The golden sun is our shield if we act wisely." Haroon frowned. "A shield? They are enormous. We cannot fight them." Amir nodded. "Then we do not fight with weapons. We fight with knowledge. We must act together." Lena looked at the glowing symbols on the walls. The patterns. They are changing. They are reacting to the ships. Maybe the tomb itself can help us. Suddenly, a beam of light shot from one of the Tharoon ships, scanning the chamber. The golden sun pulsed back in response. The light reflected across the walls, creating shapes and symbols that moved like liquid gold. The Tharoon stepped back, momentarily startled. They had expected obedience, not resistance. Outside, the first official screamed, Shoot them!" Amir held up his hand. "No, that will only make them angry. Let the tomb show them our strength." He placed both hands on the golden sun, feeling its energy surge through him. The chamber trembled, and the beam of light from the Tharoon ship hit the golden surface. A shockwave of golden energy spread outward, knocking over tents, scattering guards, and raising sandstorms in the surrounding desert. The Tharoon ships recoiled. Their shields glimmered under the power of the golden sun. The commanders realized that the humans had not only discovered the device, but were beginning to control it. "They are stronger than expected," one said. "The Sun Core is responding to them. We must retreat and plan carefully." But another voice argued, "Do not retreat. We have come too far. We take it now or never." The humans could see the hesitation in the ships above. The golden sun continued to pulse in rhythm with Amir's touch. Its glow reflected in every surface of the chamber, and a warmth spread outward, calming the officials and giving courage to the explorers. Amir spoke to his team quietly. "Stay calm. Trust the tomb. It is with us." Lena felt the hum travel through her arms. The symbols on the walls shifted again, forming a protective pattern over the entrance. She realized the tomb itself was creating a shield, not by walls of stone, but by energy. Haroon whispered in awe. "It is alive. It is defending us," the Tharoon observed silently. The golden pulses prevented them from firing directly without damage to themselves. For the first time, they considered that perhaps humans were not as weak as they thought. Amir let the energy flow through him. He saw visions of light stretching across the desert, reaching villages and towns far beyond the tomb. The golden sun could illuminate the entire world if it were used wisely, but he also felt the danger. If the Tharun attacked with full force, the energy could be catastrophic. For now, the standoff continued. The desert trembled, the sand whirled, and the golden sun glowed brighter than ever. The Tharun ships hovered above, testing, observing, calculating. Humans on Earth could not match them in strength or technology. But Amir and his team had something the aliens did not: knowledge, courage, and the awakening power of the golden sun. The first contact was not peaceful, but it was not war. It was a warning, a moment of choice. The visitors from the sky had arrived, and humanity stood at the center of an awakening that would determine the fate of Earth. Amir looked at Lena and Haroun. "We have survived the first test," he said quietly. "The real challenge is what comes next." Above, the Tharun ships held position, waiting. Below, the golden sun pulsed steadily, ready to light the world. The desert was silent before dawn, but inside the tomb, a low hum filled the air. Amir, Lena, and Haroun were awake, each feeling the golden sun's vibrations more strongly than ever. The chamber glowed softly, reflecting on the walls, illuminating symbols that had never appeared before. Amir placed his hand on the golden surface, feeling warmth and energy flow through him. "This is different," Amir whispered. "It is stronger than before. It is awake in a new way." Lena leaned close, tracing the glowing lines. "The patterns, they are moving faster, like the sun wants us to do something." Haroun set up small instruments to measure the energy. Readings were off the charts. "It is absorbing sunlight and converting it," he said. "But not for heat or light alone. This energy, it is alive. It can be directed." Amir looked up at the ceiling shaft where sunlight first entered. "We must align it. The device is showing us how. We need to focus all the light into a single path. Only then will we understand its power." The team worked together, placing mirrors and reflective panels in careful positions as indicated by the patterns on the walls. Slowly, sunlight streamed through the shaft and hit the golden sun perfectly. The chamber trembled slightly and a beam of golden energy shot upward, piercing the ceiling. The desert outside seemed to shimmer with heat and light, though no sun had risen yet. The Tharun ships hovered above, watching the unfolding event. Their dark forms reflected in the golden light of the tomb. "The humans are activating it," one commander said. "They are using the sun core. Do not underestimate them." Another Tharun frowned. "It is not fully controlled yet. If it grows too strong, it may damage the planet. We must intervene." But Amir was focused entirely on the chamber. The golden sun pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. The patterns on the walls flowed like liquid gold, forming images of energy spreading across oceans, lands, and cities. Amir could see how the device could bring light and power to the world without harming it. But he also saw dangers, storms, fires, and destruction if it was misused. Lena pointed to the walls. "It is showing us a path. The energy must flow evenly. We cannot force it. We must guide it carefully." Amir nodded. He guided his team to adjust the panels slightly. As the sunlight touched the golden sun, the device responded immediately. The hum grew louder, more harmonious, filling the chamber like music. Light pulsed outward in waves, reflecting from the walls, and for a moment the explorers felt as though they were at the center of the universe. Outside, the Tharun ships tested the defenses. They sent beams toward the tomb, but each one was absorbed or deflected by the golden sun's energy. The pulsing light acted like a shield, keeping the desert safe. The aliens realized that this was not just a machine. It was a guardian. Amir kept his hand on the golden surface. He felt visions again, clearer than before. He saw humanity standing together, using the energy to light cities, grow crops, and travel without destroying the earth. He saw the Tharun, retreating, realizing that humans were not weak, and that they had earned the right to the sun core through courage and understanding. Haroun whispered, "It is more than a machine. It is alive, and it knows us now." The chamber shook gently as the golden sun reached full activation. Light poured upward, forming a pillar that reached beyond the ceiling and into the desert sky. The entire desert glowed, and the distant villages noticed a strange, beautiful illumination. People thought it was sunrise, but it was unlike any sunrise they had ever seen. Amir turned to his team. It is ready. We can now guide it to do what we intended. We can light the world, not for war, not for greed, but for life. Lena smiled, her eyes reflecting the golden glow. We have never held anything like this before. It is ours to protect, but also ours to share wisely. The Tharun ships began to move back slowly. Their sensors had shown them the full power of the golden sun and the humans' control over it. One commander said quietly, "They have earned it, for now, but we will return if they misuse it." Amir knew this was only temporary. The universe was watching, and challenges would come again. But at this moment, the tomb had fulfilled its purpose. The golden sun had awakened fully, revealing the knowledge and strength of a civilization long gone, and humanity had proven itself capable of guiding it. As the light from the golden sun spread beyond the tomb, the desert became calm. Sandstorms ceased, winds softened, and the stars above twinkled in harmony with the energy from below. The golden pillar shrank slightly, focusing on the tomb, ready to channel energy where it was needed. Amir looked at his team and spoke firmly. "We have succeeded in the first step. Now we must ensure that this power never falls into the wrong hands. Humanity has been given a gift, and with it comes responsibility." Lena and Harun nodded. The tomb had shown them that power alone was not enough. Wisdom, courage, and unity were the true keys. The golden sun pulsed one last time that night, warm and steady, as if acknowledging their understanding. And far above, the Tharun retreated silently, carrying the memory of what humans had achieved. They had learned that strength alone did not define a species. Humans, with their courage and wisdom, had awakened a light that would shine across the world. The Pharaoh's tomb of the rising sun was no longer just a legend. It was alive, and humanity had taken the first step toward a brighter future. The desert was calm under the early morning sun. The golden tomb of the rising sun glowed softly, its energy now steady and controlled. Amir, Lena, and Harun stood at the chamber entrance, watching the light stretch across the dunes. The golden sun had awakened fully, and for the first time humanity could see the true power it held. Lena smiled as she traced the glowing patterns on the walls. "It is beautiful. It is more than gold. It is knowledge, energy, and life." Amir nodded. "And it is ours to protect. The world must not misuse it. This is a gift, but it comes with responsibility." Outside, word of the glowing tomb had spread quietly. Villagers and travelers came to see the golden light, amazed at the calm yet powerful energy that filled the desert. News agencies reported the strange illumination, calling it a miracle of science and history. The tomb was no longer hidden, yet no one could touch it recklessly. The Tharun fleet, once a looming threat, had retreated beyond the solar system. Their leaders realized that humanity had not only discovered the sun core, but had also learned to guide it wisely. They knew that any attack would be dangerous, for the golden sun could defend itself and its protectors. For now, they withdrew, leaving Earth in peace. Inside the chamber, Amir guided his team. "We must study the patterns, understand how it channels energy, and prepare to share it carefully. This power can light entire cities, irrigate deserts, and provide energy without harming the Earth. But it must be used with wisdom." Harun looked at the golden sun, his eyes reflecting the glow. "It is alive. I can feel it thinking, responding to us. It knows we want to help, not destroy." Amir placed his hand on the smooth surface once more. The hum was gentle now, warm and steady. Symbols flowed across the walls, forming images of humans sharing energy, building cities, planting crops, and learning. The tomb was showing them what could be done if humanity acted together. Lena whispered, "It is showing us a future. A better future." Amir smiled softly. "Yes, and we must work to reach it. This is only the beginning." Governments, scientists, and engineers slowly gathered to understand the golden sun. Amir insisted on collaboration, not control. Leaders from different nations learned to work together under the guidance of Amir and his team. The Golden Sun's energy lit hospitals, schools, and towns. Farms grew in deserts that had been barren for centuries. Humanity experienced what it had never imagined, clean energy that could reach everyone. The desert tomb became a symbol, not of wealth, but of hope and unity. People traveled from far and wide, not to claim treasure, but to study and learn. The Golden Sun connected humanity in ways they had never known. It reminded them that even small acts of courage and wisdom could shape the future. Amir often stood outside the tomb at night, looking up at the stars. He thought of the Tharun, watching from afar. He knew they had learned something too. Humans could rise above fear and greed when guided by knowledge and purpose. The Golden Sun had tested them, and they had passed. One evening, Lena asked, "Do you think we will ever see them again?" Amir shook his head slowly. "Perhaps. But if we continue to use this gift wisely, they will not need to. Humanity has proven it can protect what is precious without destruction," Harun added quietly. "And we have learned that true power is not in taking, but in understanding. The Golden Sun gave us that lesson." The chamber glowed faintly as if agreeing with them. The Golden Sun pulsed gently, a steady heartbeat echoing through the desert. It was no longer just a machine or a treasure. It had become a guide, a friend, and a protector of humanity. Over time, the Golden Sun's energy reached cities, towns, and villages far beyond the desert. Children grew up learning about the tomb and the sun core, inspired to explore, create, and discover. Humanity began to unite in ways never imagined before. The deserts bloomed, the oceans were studied and protected, and the world became brighter, not just in light but in knowledge and hope. Amir stood one final time before the Golden Sun, his hand on the surface. He felt the hum, warm and steady. He knew the device would always be alive, always guiding humanity toward what was right. The tomb had fulfilled its purpose. The Pharaoh's Golden Sun, a treasure long hidden, had lit the world in more ways than one. Lena smiled beside him. "We did not just find gold, we found ourselves. Humanity can shine brighter than the stars if we choose to." Amir nodded. "Yes, and now, the light we have awakened will never be forgotten. It will guide the world, and perhaps even the stars for generations to come." The desert fell silent once more, the golden tomb glowing faintly in the distance. A new age had begun, not of conquest, not of war, but of light, knowledge, and hope. Humanity had proven it could rise to the challenge, and the Golden Sun would always remind them of what they were capable of achieving together. The Pharaoh's tomb of the rising sun was no longer a story of the past. It had become a beginning. Humanity had learned to wield the gift wisely. The world had changed, and its light would shine forever.